We want to thank you all again for joining us today. I am Caitlin Giles McCormick here with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Today's session will provide an overview of NJEDA's NJ-ZIP, which is the Zero Emission Incentive Program, and will include a panel discussion from New Jersey businesses who purchased electric vehicles in the first phase of this program and have so graciously agreed to share their experience and tips for all of you and how best to utilize the second phase of this program, which will be opening soon. And with that, I'm going to shift things over to Michelle Bowden, NJEDA's Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, to kick things off. Okay. Michelle, take it away.
Hello, Caitlin, and thank you. Hello to everyone. We are so happy that you are here. As Caitlin mentioned, I am the EDA's Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. Been here at EDA now for going on about 3 years. So I want to just extend a very gracious and big thank you to all of you, to all of our partners from the various chambers and organizations that work so well, and so closely with us. Your continued support of not only NJ-ZIP, but of all that we do here at EDA and the awareness of our programs that we could not spread and get out to the public if not were for you. And so we thank you. We look forward to continuing our relationship with you all, our so loved chambers and other organizations. And, I can't overstate how vitally important you are to us and to the community and our state at large. I also want to say thank you to the more than 400, I think Caitlin said we had like 450 that signed up today for today's session. It's amazing to see that, this program, and rightfully so, has garnered so much enthusiasm and interest. This program is really focused at the forefront for our small and our diverse business owners, but while also working to ensure a better climate future for all of New Jersey. So we are just ecstatic that you're here. I'd like to give a special acknowledgement to the New Jersey Assembly's Deputy Majority Leader and Representee of Legislative District 34. Go Essex and Passaic, right? Assemblyman Thomas P. Giblin, who is also joining us in support of this important program. I want to also thank representatives from Assemblywoman Victoria A. Flynn's office, Legislative District 13. This kind of support from our elected officials is really, really essential to not only promoting the program, but also for connecting with the people and the businesses who can benefit directly. So we just really, really appreciate you being here with us. And with that, I will pass the program over to my colleague, Kevin Lynch, who is our Director of Clean Energy Programs.
Michelle, thank you. And again, welcome to everyone. And I echo, Michelle's comments, because certainly diversity and inclusion are at the top of the list in clean energy. And more importantly, Governor Murphy in his economic development plan outlines clean energy as a strategic sector, but also to roadmap for diversity and inclusion. And here in the EDA, we are particularly keenly aware of the opportunities, in the economy, but more so engaging our partners and stakeholders in diverse communities. And I think, with this webinar, certainly there'll be a great deal of information, but in the clean energy sector, we're also looking at standing up programs that will benefit diverse communities, small businesses, and some of these programs extend from loan to lenders, efficiency on the Garden State CPACE. But today we're talking about New Jersey ZIP, which has been a great success in the phase 1 and the rollout, and we're looking forward to phase 2. But by the numbers, I'm a numbers person, so I'm always impressed when I can see numbers that are impactful to diverse communities. And just right off the top, we approved over 221 applications and supported 367 new zero-emission vehicles, which is quite impressive, by the way. 93% of that was for small businesses and 60% were minority and women-owned veteran businesses. So there's a great deal of penetration when you think about clean energy and the catalyst around incentivizing small and minority businesses, but more importantly, it gets us in a space where transportation and electrification moves us to a net zero clean energy by 2050, which the governor has outlined. I would like to, again, welcome you, and certainly, if you ever have any questions, you can contact myself or Olivia, and I'm going to pass it on to Olivia.
Thank you, Kevin and Michelle, for the warm welcome. And, thank you to my colleagues, Caitlin and Kyle, for helping to plan and coordinate this event. I'm Olivia. I'm a senior project officer with the Clean Energy team and the program lead for NJ-ZIP. I want to welcome everyone and say thank you for joining. I want to do a brief refresher of the program before we hear from our panelists, who are the real stars of the show today. NJ-ZIP is the New Jersey Zero-Emission Incentive Program, and its core goal is to support New Jersey businesses and institutions in purchasing zero-emission, medium, and now in phase 2, heavy-duty vehicles by reducing the upfront capital cost to purchase. The pilot structure from phase 1 to phase 2 will remain largely unchanged, but contemplates 2 major eligibility areas, which include expanding into the heavy duty space and expanding our applicants statewide. I'll also note that the application flow has changed. Your selected vendor will start the application, submit your vehicle information, and then send to you as the purchaser for final application, payment, and submission. So connecting and discussing EV options with your approved vendor will be critical to your success in this program. NJ-ZIP will continue to be a first come, first serve voucher program with a total voucher pool of $45 million, with $15 million set aside, or 1/3 of the funding set aside, for small businesses, and another 1/3 set aside for our overburdened community or environmental justice community applications. So our base voucher values are based on vehicle class 2B through now class 8, with values ranging from $20,000 to $175,000. This was adjusted slightly from phase 1, if anyone was familiar with phase 1. So these vouchers are redeemable upon vehicle registration and some other obligations. And so bonuses we have available for small businesses, women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses, applicants who select vendors, localized manufacturing, applicants who commit to driving the majority of their time in EJ communities, and lastly, bonuses for school bus purchases to address that larger incremental cost associated with zero-emission buses. Now, a few last points before we jump in. The applications are expected to launch by the end of Q1 2023, and we'll be hosting a webinar to walk through those application details closer to launch. Vendors are being approved on a rolling basis and are posted to our website when they're approved. Again, I'd like to emphasize that discussing EV options with the approved vendor of your choice will be critical to your success in this program. And lastly, based on our experience from the last year of the pilot, it was clear that additional administrative support and technical guidance is critical to small business applicants as you consider that transition to zero-emission vehicle options. And while the exact terms of this have not yet been finalized, we anticipate that the technical assistance will be provided with a state university and will include Electric Vehicle 101, some implementation support, for example, charging design and assessment, and administrative support. Now I'd like to go ahead and introduce our panelists who have all applied, purchased, and got their vehicles delivered. Today we have Moises, Jesse, and Dr. Faith Krausman, and I'll let them do the rest of their introductions as we begin. Can you tell us about yourself and your business and where you're located?
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Jesse Phillip. I'm located in Orange, New Jersey. My business is a small minority-owned business. I do property renovations on commercial and residential properties. I do everything from basically start to finish. And pretty much, I'm in Orange area, and I kind of help out different areas. I go further South Jersey sometimes, but I'm mostly in the Newark area.
Awesome. Moises, why don't you go next?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Moises Luque, and I'm the CEO of Supreme Green Team. Supreme Green Team is a certified minority and small business enterprise in the state of New Jersey. We are mainly a transportation company, and we transport general freight from warehouse to warehouse and warehouse to businesses. We are also in the business of building charging infrastructure across the state of New Jersey. We are located in Middlesex County, specifically in East Brunswick. However, that will change shortly and we will be moving to the greater Newark area. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faith Krausman, the owner of Vet on Wheels. I'm a veterinarian and I worked in a small practice for many years, and then I decided to do house calls. So this was established in 2000. I'm from Montclair, so it's out of Montclair. And what I do is perform veterinary house calls, which means I see the patient at the house, but now I'll be able to see them in the van. It's going to be dogs, cats, and I do exotics. Exotics include everything from pocket pets to reptiles, rodents, rabbits, birds, and ferrets. As far as what kind of things I do, I basically do physical exams for wellness checkups, updating vaccines, and the yearly diagnostic tests that are necessary. And I also do illness, in patients and treat chronic diseases. One of the diseases I treat a lot is arthritis, which isn't a disease, it's a condition, but it happens a lot in my older patients. So I really like to specialize in helping out the geriatric dogs and cats and letting them live a less painful life toward the end when they are riddled with a lot of problems that come with the old age. I also do nutritional counseling and treatment of many diseases.
Panelists definitely come from a wide range of backgrounds and also totally different businesses that really give you a really wide breadth and depth of what an electric vehicle can do for your business. Okay, so how did you guys hear about the program? I'll do Moises, Dr. Krausman, and then Jesse.
Sure. So I heard about the Zero-Emission Incentive Program. I was a new member of the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey when I heard about the program. The chairman of the board, Luis de la Hoz, had spoken to me about some products that were available to small businesses and incentives through the New Jersey EDA website, which I actually didn't even know existed. So he definitely directed me in the direction of the New Jersey EDA. And so that's how I found out about the program and how it would help me in my transportation business. Thank you.
Okay, so I was actually visiting a patient doing a house call, and the dog's owner informed me about this grant. She had applied also. And she told me it was all about getting an electric van or an electric vehicle, and that it would be a great fit for me because of the type of business I had. And I always wanted to have a van to do this with the house calls. And so I was very excited to get on board. And I thought it would be great to see my patients in a van. She was very enthusiastic about it and told me it wasn't a difficult process. She was a grant writer and had a lot of experience with it. And she offered any help that I would need if I was having any troubles. But that's how I found out about it.
And I found out about the program through Renita Roman, Essex County Small Business Development and Affirmative Action Hall of Records. I have been through multiple networking events in terms of the Chamber of Commerce and also with Department of Economic Development. And her email stood out to me because I usually get a lot of emails and stuff because I'm always looking up for new work and new opportunities. And hers stood out to me because it was an electric vehicle, and also, it's coming through a grant. So you're not going to get someone else to pay a vehicle for you. And once you meet all the requirements, so that kind of piqued my interest upon, going through the webinar and learning some more information. So that's how I learned about the grant.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think, these 218 and 450 registered participants for this webinar is they're all going to say in a year when we ask them how did they find out about the program that they heard it from their chambers as well. So thank you for that. So I really want you guys to spend some time, explaining, why did you want to choose an electric vehicle for your business? We'll do Dr. Krausman and then Jesse and then end with Moses.
Okay, so I've been an environmentalist since a child. I love nature and love animals and living things. When I was in high school, I was the head of an organization that I founded called Students Against Pollution. And we would raise awareness and we would collect cans and bottles and clean up the neighborhood parks and things like that. And when I was at the veterinary hospital, I got the recycling bins. I made sure everyone put their recycling in the proper bins and got it outside on recycling day. I've also been in several organizations like a steward for the earth type of thing. I was on the project committee for the Backyard Wildlife Habitat Project, which is sponsored by the National Wildlife Foundation. And Montclair was the first town in New Jersey to be certified as a backyard wildlife habitat. And we had a big celebration at the Van Vleck, which is a garden in Montclair. All these things are always been a part of my life. I'm a member of Climate Change New Jersey, which we're trying to actually convert Montclair to an all-electric vehicle town, which is that's a big dream. I don't know how that's going to happen, but little by little, maybe. And I also believe in like community-supported agriculture. I try to get from local farms, and try to stay organic and leave out all the pesticides, which I feel are very harmful to the environment as well, both the wildlife and the humans. And I'm always hoping for the government to join in, like, for example, Exxon in 1977 knew about the climate change and the global warming, but ignored it and denied it. And so we're that much far behind. Now, hopefully we can catch up with things like this. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll jump in and say, I'm already impressed that, this environmental passion started when you were in high school. I think that's really awesome. And if a passion of yours is to get Montclair to be a zero-emission vehicle town, I did see some questions in the chat that said that were asking if municipalities were eligible, and they are. So Montclair could apply to the program if they're interested in getting electric 2B through Class 8 vehicles. So sorry to interrupt, Jesse. We'd like to hear from you now. Thanks.
No problem. I actually absolutely agree with Faith over there, Doctor, because I'm from the Caribbean originally, and I've grown up very natural in terms of what I eat and agriculture. My grandparents had acres and acres of land. So I'm always into the planting and nature and, protecting the environment. So when it came the chance to get an electric vehicle, at first I was a little, skeptical about it because I didn't understand it. But upon doing like further research, it's environmental friendly, noise. I mean, you get a charging station at your house if you know, or you get the right people to connect it to you. So you don't have to worry about going for gas, filling up. You can charge your vehicle overnight. So you have a gas station that's not a gas station at your house that you don't have to worry about. So you plug it in overnight and it charges. The other thing is just, it's way, way friendly for an environment, zero emissions, noise pollution, and it's just convenience.
Awesome, thank you. I love that quote that, I can't build a gas station in my driveway, but I can plug in my electric vehicle. I like that. Moises, I know you're passionate. I'm excited to hear.
I'm super passionate about the EV world and industry. So the first reason, as a small business owner, it is very important to me to keep operating costs down. So I'm going to be completely honest, it was extremely important for me. I do have a fleet of vehicles which need to transition all into EV. So it's very costly right now. The cost of gas and diesel is astronomical. So that is one of the main reasons that I made the switch over to medium and heavy duty EVs. Another reason I made the change also in the state of New Jersey, 43% of the greenhouse gas emissions are due to the transportation sector. So I own a transportation company. So, I'm also part of that problem, right? I continue to operate these, diesel vehicles and gas vehicles. So in order for me to feel like I'm building not only a business, but a sustainable business, right? Not only for myself, but for the community, to have a positive impact on public health, it is extremely important for me. With 6 vehicles in the first full year of operation, I am able to reduce greenhouse gas emissions for up to 600 tons, which is a great thing for a small business. I don't know about you, but to me, that's pretty incredible, right? Just with 6 vehicles on the road. And these 6 vehicles were all from the Zero Emissions Incentive Program, right? And also, I want to incentivize other small business owners, right, to go green, to invest in EVs, right, to not think, oh, I mean, upfront, the cost is a little bit, you know, it's a little costly upfront. However, in the long run, it is well worth it, you know, for everything that I mentioned. So that's why I invested in EVs. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I think if anyone was on the fence about transitioning to electric vehicles, this is definitely the time to do it. I think there's a lot of government incentive right now to transition to electric vehicles and be sort of like on the cutting edge of this like new, really interesting technology. Okay, my next question is, what benefits, if any, have you experienced from your EV purchase? And I'll do Dr. Krausman's first, because I know, the vehicle's been delivered, but you still need to do some upfitting to make your the vehicle work for your business. And then we can go to Moises and then Jesse.
Okay, so as I said, as a house call veterinarian, I always dreamed of having a mobile veterinary unit, a van, which would serve as an office where I would be able to stand in it. So this is a high top, which is very good. And I could examine my patients and treat them. And I could do all sorts of things in the van with my nurse, but the owner of the pet wouldn't really be coming in with me. In this sense, it's like when I'm at the house and I'm seeing a patient sometimes in a small room without the owner there, because there is COVID concerns that I still have. So this would help me with that, because I still have to avoid it because medical reasons, but I would be able to do my full exam in the van with my nurse assisting. And the owners would also be very happy that I'm not dirtying up their floor, like with shaving fur and getting blood and this and that. So their homes are kept nice and tidy. I do everything in my van, and everything is nice and calm, low pressure, because the animal doesn't have to go in a car to get to me. I'm right there. And lots of animals get nervous on the trip into the office. And here I have my office right outside their home. And it's all very nice, where I would be able to do my full all the things that I offer, my services in the van, and then report back to the owner when I'm done. So I think it's a great service. However, like I said, I'm still getting it outfitted. I have to get the exam table. I got to get the shelves and the desk and other furniture and a special rug, because of course these animals are going to possibly have accidents. So for all those reasons, I'm waiting until that's all done, and then I'm going to take it out on the road. Thank you.
Thanks. Moises, do you want to go next?
Sure. So one of the benefits that I've experienced is, like I said before, reduction in cost of operation. I was spending roughly, just as an example, for one vehicle, to fill it up with diesel, one of my trucks was about $600 at peak, at the height of the increase of diesel, the prices of diesel. So I would have to make about $1,400 a day in order to make a $200 profit. Like, that's how crazy it started to get for me. So that was extremely, extremely important for me to reduce that cost. And also a lot of exposure for my business, because, people start looking at you and start saying, hey, does that really exist? Do medium and heavy duty vehicles, EVs exist? And I'm like, yeah. So I was able to ring the bell at the NASDAQ too. So that was pretty cool.
So for me, I'm going to take over. The benefits that I have received, along from, just having acquired a vehicle, is one, it doesn't go over a certain mileage. So usually, you have a gas vehicle, you can step on that gas and you could go up to 80 to 100. The electric vehicles, they promote safe driving. So on my vehicle, I don't know about the rest of them, they don't go over 63, 65. So that's one. The maintenance on the vehicles, you don't have to worry about oil changes and all this other stuff going to a mechanic. So that's two. You get, low maintenance on these vehicles. The size, I love the size. I love how light it is and how quiet it runs. Let me see what else I have here. I wrote down a couple stuff here. And also with the vehicle, you want to know how far you can go. It's an electric vehicle, right? So, it says up to a certain amount you can charge it. There's a certain amount of time that you can charge it for. So it kind of limits you in terms of what you can do and what you can't do. So you want to know where there are new charging ports, fast charging ports, how long it takes to charge these vehicles. But the benefit is that it kind of gets you more organized. Also, the other side effect of this is you think, hey, I don't have a gas station in my house. I'm plugging it in. How can I get a lower, lower rate to fill up my vehicle? Of course, you're going to update your house eventually with solar. So you're doing a 2-in-1 if you really think about it. Get an electric vehicle and also getting a product of where you stay or where you're going to charge your vehicles to kind of eliminate the cost because it's coming from the sun. So, with the solar panels. So for me, there's a lot of different benefits that kind of came with the vehicle, also kind of ripple effect and help where I stay and my place of business, I should say.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think everyone has different views on why they want an electric vehicle, but I think like something to really hit home from what you guys were saying is that the total cost of ownership is much cheaper. No more oil changes, the maintenance is down, you're charging the vehicle with kilowatts and not gallons of diesel fuel. So it's definitely worth the switch if it makes sense for your business and you do this. You understand like the cost up front versus the cost, 5-7 years down the line. Okay, we're doing really great on time, so thank you, panelists. Okay, my next question is specifically about Zip. How was the application process, and do you have any advice for any other applicants? I know I was calling you guys out. Jesse, you go first, and then we'll go to Moises, and then we'll end with.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. But honestly, the best advice I can give anyone that's really going to try and apply for this program is, one, to get all your certifications as much as you can so you can get the best incentives ever that the program is offering. The second thing is you have to remember this is like purchasing a vehicle. This isn't like someone giving you a vehicle. You're actually purchasing a vehicle. So go through the vendors, see which vendor matches your needs. There are different vendors, as Olivia said, they come on a rolling basis, but speak to each one of them. Each one of these vendors that have electric vehicles, they do something different. So you would want to kind of just make sure you are in communication with your vendors and also with the EDA, because they are the middle person for you. So the most I can tell you, just walk through the process of actually purchasing a vehicle and just follow the regulations of what you have to follow. And don't give up. You're going to run into road bumps. You work with EDA and you also work with the vendors and you figure out how to go around it. And it works. Trust me, it works. I think it's very beneficial.
Yeah. Jesse, I'll just chime in real quick on the, understanding the electric vehicle purchasing process. Like I said before, that technical assistance piece I think will be really helpful for phase 2 purchasers. And then also, I saw a couple questions in the chat about the vendor applications. Those are being approved now on a rolling basis. And so once an application is approved, it'll be posted on our website. I think Jesse hit home what I had said earlier too, that, discussing and talking with your vendor before applying is critical to your success in the program. So thanks. Okay, what did I say? Moises, you can go next and then we'll end with Dr. Crossman. Thanks.
So the application process for me on phase 1 was pretty seamless, very straightforward, nothing out of this world. However, just to piggyback a little bit on what Jesse said, in terms of the certifications, extremely important. I was able to secure about close to $700,000 in vouchers for my vehicles, which is an astronomical amount of money, right? And completely life-changing for my business. However, out of that amount, I was able to obtain $153,000. Just based on my criteria to fit the small business category and the minority owned business. So it is extremely important for people to get certified, under whatever category they meet. Also, an advice for the new applicants is please do not make the mistake that I did and make changes to your entity. to your business while going through the process. I'll share a little bit about mine. Because I was so excited, the Supreme Green Team was born in 2020 as Devout Trucking. However, once I knew I was getting the grant, I went haywire and I said, let me change the name of my company and I'm going to be Supreme Green Team. However, that put a delay on the process for me a little bit outside of the hands of the New Jersey EDA. So the New Jersey EDA was not responsible for that. It was just that I needed paperwork from the state of New Jersey now stating, the change of name, the amendments to my articles of formation. And so for tax clearance certificate purposes, right, you have to get that on record and they have to issue you everything with your new name. So that's definitely something that I want to tell any applicants that are going to go forward in phase 2 is just please, any changes that you're going to make to your entity, if it can wait, just please wait till after the voucher process so there will not be a delay in your application. Let me see, what else do I have in mind? And any other, oh yes, important also, keep clear communication, as Jesse said, also with your vendors. Is extremely, extremely important. I have personally, worked with the 2 vendors that I've worked with, Lion Electric and also Green Power Motor. I know that their presence here in New Jersey is seen a lot. Larry comes at least, once a month to meet, with everyone and anyone that has questions or any concerns with, any vehicles that have been delivered. So it is important to keep that line of communication because it'll be much, much, much more easier. Thank you.
Okay, well, first, I just want to backtrack about the last question. I want to add that there's lots of these veterinary units that do spay neuter and things like that in the clinic, but the difference is they have a gas operated vehicle and the gas is running the whole time to get the electric going in the car. And it's terrible. It's so polluting and it's a horrible smell. And I said, this is really not good. We're trying to do something good, but we're not doing something good. So that's another reason I really like the fact that I'm going to be, when I travel, no matter how far it is or how much traffic I'm in, I don't have to worry about that I'm polluting the environment. So that's the other thing. Now, as far as your recent question, so I was very happy to apply to decrease my carbon footprint, and I am extremely grateful to be a recipient of this grant. However, for me, the application process was no walk around the block. It took me a long time to complete. There were numerous forms to fill out. I don't know if you've changed that, but many forms to submit, including many tax returns, certificates of formation, board members, all of the, like they said, you have to join those groups, which is fine. Joining the small business group was no problem. But the women's business group for me was a problem because I applied to the WBENC, which is the New York and Metro, which includes Northern New Jersey. And I thought that was the group that I had to apply to. And I didn't get, I guess it wasn't clear to me which one. So that application was so complicated and very difficult, and it cost money. And I didn't realize until I was finished, and I was so happy after all that I finished it, that they were telling me, sorry, wrong one. So I had to do the other one, which was the state, which was like so easy compared to that one. Now there is one problem. If it takes you a while to fill out the application, you do have to keep resubmitting the tax clearance certificate every 6 months. It's only good for 6 months. So I had to actually, I had it first and then I had to renew it 2 more times. Then one of the other issues I had, and I don't know if you guys had it, because I had to go to the Motor Vehicle Bureau. Some of these vendors take care of your registration, but my vendor did not. And I had to go to the Motor Vehicle Bureau and they turned me away twice saying I didn't have the appropriate forms. I don't know what they were talking about. I had my tax exempt form. I had all my forms. I asked the vendor, I asked everyone, all you guys, and no one really knew what they were talking about. So I kept going back. And finally, on the 3rd try, they finally gave in because there was a guy there that said, yeah, this is fine. She has everything she needs. It's 100% electric. It's tax exempt. So then they gave me the registration certificate and my license plates, and I was ready to roll, except that I had no screws, and then the vendor sent them to me, but then they didn't fit into the van with the license plate and the way the holes are in the van. So then the vendor mailed me 1 adapter, but I needed 2 because in New Jersey, we need to display the license plates, both the front and the back. So I'm now waiting for the 2nd adapter. So my next step, now that all that's done, is to design the van. As I told you before, I was also going to include a ramp for my elder patients because they can't get up that big jump. And so I'm really looking forward to using this van to do my house calls. It will decrease my carbon footprint, give my patients a safe, comfortable for the exams in a low pressure environment, and I'm going to do something good for the earth. So I'm very happy to be doing this. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'm sure your application process will be much easier than me.
No, I think to summarize, there are a lot of parties that you need to coordinate with to be successful in the application. You have to apply, and we have links that I was going to share at the end to get your tax clearance, to get your women, minority, or veteran-owned business certification. You need to register to do business. You need to register the vehicle. You need to have insurance for the vehicle. So there's definitely a lot of coordination on your part to make sure that you're following the right steps. So I think your candid and honest response was valid and definitely reasonable, and summarizes, I think, the program is really awesome, but definitely has some hoops you have to jump through. Moises, I see your hand is raised. You want to jump in?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention also the importance of having a corp code in place when you apply for the program. So in order for you to register your vehicle in the state of New Jersey, in a commercial entity, you're going to need a corp code. So a lot of people are not aware of that. And then when they get to the end process, they tell them, they go register the vehicle. They go, what's your corp code? And they're like, what, people are not even aware of what that is. And also to mention what Dr. Crossman said about, it's kind of hit or miss when you go to the Motor Vehicle Commission to register these vehicles. They also did tell me, Dr. Crossman, that I needed to fill out some form, for tax reasons or whatever the case is. And I had to literally Google and show them that it was passed, the law was passed that these vehicles are, tax exempt, that you don't pay any taxes on it. And it took them about 40 minutes to kind of figure it out, but they were able to do it then. Yeah.
Do you want to jump in again?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the corp code is something the vendor should be telling you. That's how I found out about it. The vendor told me how to get the corp code. He was very helpful with me. It was really kind of plugging me to try to get this car, get the insurance, get the corp code, get the car registered, because in order for him to finish it up, he needed me to do all those things too. So he had some incentive. So the corp code was no problem. It's I think a 15-digit code. And but when you go to the motor vehicle, you just have to make an appointment. And they, pretty much on time, and they're very helpful usually. It was just that one thing. They thought there was a luxury tax on this because it's a high-priced vehicle normally. And so they couldn't understand. So she would just say to me, go home, go in the portal and get the proper form, which didn't exist. There was no proper form. So that's why I was blessed by the presence of that gentleman on the third visit. Thank you.
Okay. The final question, and then I saw some questions in the chat specifically for the three of you. We could do one sentence. Would you recommend an applicable business apply for NJZ? Yeah, Jesse, you go first.
Oh, absolutely. I'll absolutely recommend any business and all businesses, if they qualify for this program or this grant, I should say, to take the opportunity to go ahead. No one is going to give you a free vehicle if you qualify for it, and you're actually getting ahead of the game in terms of this is a future in terms of zero carbon footprint in New Jersey. The reason why New Jersey is doing a lot of this right now is because they don't want it to end up like in California and other places where it's high pollution. So, aside from saving the environment and getting a new vehicle, it's a no-brainer why you should really apply to this grant here.
Yeah, I also agree. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's an amazing, wonderful opportunity to have this van, to be, I'm very grateful. And I think it would be crazy for somebody not to apply if they have an applicable business. The paperwork is nothing. It's just time consuming. It's a little bit laborious, but it can be done. It's basically, there's people that always were there to help. And, you just have to read a little and figure out. And then it's really good. So no, I don't have one reservation about it. And it is really the future. It's our future. It's the earth. So, and it's just such a wonderful thing. And I think the more we can talk about it, that's why I talk about it with like small business owners that I see in local new shops that look like they would be a good mobile type of business. I mention it to them. And so, in fact, one of them is here today at this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Moises?
Yeah, I've been one of the biggest supporters of this program from the beginning. April 6th, I remember clearly when I applied. And I told you the story, Olivia, before that when I applied, I was so eager to participate in the program that I reached out to, at that time, Victoria Carey, who was heading the program. And I said, Victoria, I can't proceed, with the application process anymore. What happened? And she says, Moses, I love your eagerness to participate. However, you need to give us a chance so that the vendors are able to register, because in essence, you don't have anyone to purchase vehicles from right now. That's how quickly I jumped on the opportunity. So needless to say, I definitely recommend that any business in the state of New Jersey applies to the program. And if you bump into any problems, obviously reach out to the New Jersey EDA, to the email, to Olivia. Everybody's great and helpful. And also I make myself available if anyone has questions or just needs to ask anything, please feel free to contact me and I'll be more than happy to help.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to share my screen back and say, thank you again to Moises, Jesse, and Dr. Crossman, and also to Kevin, Michelle, Kyle, and Caitlin. I really appreciate you guys joining and participating on the panel for your discussion and answering my questions. And so, as I noted, and Moises and Jesse and Dr. Crossman also brought up, there are documents that are necessary in order to apply for the program, which include that tax clearance that does expire every 180 days, which is why Dr. Crossman needed a couple of them. And then there's the women, minority, and veteran-owned business certification that's also required if you want to receive that bonus. I did see a question in the chat. There's no specific organization you need to join. It's just important that you read the certification and the requirements, because Dr. Crossman was confused and she was explaining how you got to make sure you're paying attention and making sure that you're registering for the right program in order to get the certification you need. And then you obviously need to register to do business in order to apply. Though I saw a bunch of messages in the chat that municipalities are eligible to apply. So they still need to get their tax clearance, but they don't have a business registration. And then finally, most of this information will be available on the NJ Zip page at the EDA. Our application, when it's ready to launch and when we're hosting these webinars to walk through the details of the application, we'll post all that through the listserv and this registration list. And then also the application portal. If you've applied for any other EDA programs, you would have an account with our portal. And then when the program goes live, you'll be able to apply through that portal. And again, if you had any questions, or we'll start to answer some, but I don't know if we'll get through all of them today, feel free to email me at the njzip@njeda.com email address. And then this is all of us who worked on the program for today's panel discussion. And then thank you. So I will stop sharing my screen again, and we can maybe talk about some of the questions in the chat. Caitlin, if you could, or someone else, help direct some of these questions that are directly for the panelists and some that aren't. I saw a couple that said, question for Moises. I'll just start through them. What size are your EV trucks? We currently have a 26-foot box truck. Do they make an EV that large?
So yes, I personally ordered 3 26-foot box trucks from Lion Electric. I know that there might be some new vendors that may have been approved in the second phase. So definitely Lion Electric for sure has a 26-foot box trucks with a gross vehicle weight of 26,000 pounds. Yes, they do.
Yeah, we increased our electric vehicle class sizes. In phase 1, it was class 2B through class 6, and now it's class 2B through class 8. So that includes gross vehicle weights of 33,000 pounds or more. Okay, I see another one. To the panelist, who did you find to give you the best commercial insurance rate for your EVs? How long did it take you to find your EV before purchasing? 3 months, 6 months, etc.?
My application took almost, I want to say almost a year, if I'm not mistaken, to get the physical vehicles into my business area. And the reason why it took so long is, one, it was during COVID, and two, you know, everything in terms of shipping and delivery was backed up. Also, it kind of gave me more time to kind of alter certain things with the vendor in terms of my vehicle. So I was kind of happy of the process taking that long, because there were certain things I wanted to get, like dump trucks, and you know, I kind of scrapped certain plans, and I was able to move around. As for the insurance, it's all going to be kind of based on who you have insurance with and what is the lowest rate that they can get for you in terms of commercial insurance. But otherwise, you know, working with the vendor, you know, they'll custom fit your vehicles to how you would want it.
We did also, in addition to the insurance question, we did have another one, and I scrolled past it, that said, did switching to an EV affect the business liability insurance if applicable? So, Moises, I know you want to answer, if you can add that.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I just wanted to also touch a little bit on, so my experience with insurance, Progressive typically is pretty good with commercial insurance. They tend to be a little bit more flexible with offering very competitive rates to, you know, to transportation cover, or just, you know, for any commercial insurance. Let me rephrase that. That was, you know, that was the case with me. They gave me very, very reasonable rates. So that's something that people may want to consider. And also, it's a little different for me because in my insurance requirements, because I do interstate, you know, commerce, I travel from one state to another, also my vehicles. I'm required to have a little bit, you know, different insurance, and it's a little bit more costly because I have a DOT number and so forth.
I used my insurance Allstate, which I used forever for my regular personal vehicle. So if somebody wants to get this done, they can negotiate with their own insurance person because they like me, you know, I've been a good driver all these years, and they want to keep me. So they're going to give me good rates, you know, and it is more, of course, because it's commercial. But with that, they were very forthcoming as far as what it's covering. Like, it's really good insurance. It covers any kind of liability for anybody in my vehicle with me and things like that, because I travel with a nurse. So I think that's important, and I'm very happy with them. So as another possibility, they're a good company to think about.
Roslyn, you got another question that says, what size is the van that you have for your business?
Well, I have the logistics high top cargo van. I don't have the specs on it, but it's basically like any of those Mercedes Sprinters you see walking around, you know, you see them in the street. It's white and it's tall, and it doesn't have any windows in the back, just in the front and the side of the front passenger and driver side. But it's lengthwise, it's long, but it's not that wide. In other words, if you have a narrow driveway, it's still going to fit in there. It's just tall. So as far as parking on the street, I think you might need a little more space on that, but it's very easy to get around in a narrow area. It's not like a wide, like a truck or anything like that.
I think you have a class 4. Actually, can everyone say what Moises and Jesse, I think you know, like, I think you
know. I have 3 class 4 vans from Green Power Motor. Mine are 22 feet. So that's the length of the vehicle. And like Dr. Crossman said, you know, they're about 8 feet tall. It's very sprinter-like, you know, that's just like the best way to describe it, right? But they are 22 feet long. Something to keep in mind also about parking, since it was mentioned, is a lot of municipalities also do not allow for commercial vehicles to be parked in residential areas. So that's just something to think about also when you're making the purchase.
Okay. Jesse?
Yeah, I have some of the specs on the vehicles right here. Me and Dr. Fate, we have the same vehicle, if I'm not mistaken, and it is approximately 20 feet long, 8 feet high, and I can't remember exactly how wide. Let's see right here. But it's very, it's just like a Sprinter van, as they said. So size-wise and parking, it's very convenient. Some of them come with backup cameras, and it all depends on what the vendor offers. So, speaking to the vendors and what you want, they can alter it to flatbeds, they can alter it to tow trucks. So the sizes are going to come differently. It's all about the chassis on the bottom and whatnot, and what you want for your business. So, I got bare minimum because, as I said, I'm a construction worker contractor. So most of my stuff is inside. So that's why I didn't add any windows. I didn't add anything too much to it. So I kept it bare minimum, and it's working for me so far.
And also I had the guy Jay come from he's the one that updated the software, and he said that the windows on each side of the front are very good at seeing, like if you're racking up, you could see very well. And even though there's no backup camera, if it gets closer and closer to an obstruction, there's a beep that goes off. It'll go off slowly. And then as you get closer, beep, 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 so when you're getting really close and you should stop. So even though you don't have the backup camera, you could hear it, so you know to stop.
We're concerned about the number of miles an EV dump truck or tri-axle could travel in an 8-hour day. That would be like a class 8 truck, which wasn't eligible in phase 1, but it seems like a true heavy truck can't really operate efficiently on electric yet. Any panelists or myself speak to that? How has it been with driving and charging and lasting throughout the day?
I can speak a little bit about that. So charging in general is a concern for everyone that invests in EVs, right? Especially for commercial vehicles, anywhere right now, because most chargers are not commercial vehicle friendly, if you will, right? The spaces that you go into now, they're kind of like if you're using public chargers, for example, like if you go into a Walmart or, a Target, the spaces, are a little small, right? However, it's not, if you find the right charger, that anxiety of not being able to make it or running out of charge in the middle of your day is definitely a concern for everyone. But just keep in touch with your manufacturer, right? Discuss what battery packs are available. What are the options they have on the vehicle? In my vehicles on the vans, my range is up to 150. It has regenerative braking, which means anytime you press the brake, it kind of like holds a little bit more of the charge, right? And also for the box truck, the range is about 300 miles, depending again on the battery pack that you want to put into your vehicle. So just discuss it, with the manufacturer of the vehicle and see, what is the best fit for you. But yeah, definitely something to consider. Thank you.
As far as that charging, my vehicle came with a portable charger. So should I need to do that, I have that available as well.
Yeah, honestly, what we would want to do, and this is for anyone that's going through the application and dealing with the vendors, each vendor, as I said, is different. I have an EVT vehicle, and I believe there are different like Green Power and different vendors. So each one of these vendors, they're going to provide a different product. So it's going to be a different time that these batteries are going to last. So I suggest that as I said, speak to each vendor, because each person and each business is going to be different. Their hauls are going to be different in terms of what they are transporting and how long that they transport these stuff. Just remember, electric vehicle, it has to rest the same way as a human does. I kind of think of it that way, because it takes a while to charge. So you want to find the places where it does have charging stations that would be convenient for you. So, if you're in a town, you want to check a town over. Like, let's say I'm in Orange, I want to check maybe 20, 30 minutes away because I'm going to Montclair or somewhere else. I usually kind of look to see where I might have charging ports, depending on my charge that day. So if I leave out of the house, I'm at 80% or 50%. I know I have to stop for maybe about an hour, 2 hours, because it does take some time to charge these vehicles. So you will want to do some research on how long it takes and what that vendor can provide in terms of like updates for the battery in the near future.
I also just wanted to point out that you're supposed to keep a mileage log, at least this phase one, where we have to state 75% of a business has to be in the greater Newark area. So I use the app on the phone called Mile IQ, and it does separate business from personal. And this is only going to be used for business anyway. But I just wanted to know if you guys are still doing that in phase two, and maybe that would be something that the people would want to know about.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in the chat on like specific eligibility requirements and some other questions on certifications with probably 45 seconds remaining. I think that the website has a lot of the eligibility requirements and all of the documents that you need. Those like women, minority, or veteran-owned business certification is not required for the program, but is required for those bonus criteria. So that's why we had it linked on the slides. And because we opened statewide, the mileage requirement is 75% in the state of New Jersey. And then if you opt to drive in an environmental justice community, then you will receive an additional bonus, and you will be required to track your miles to answer Dr. Crossman's question. I think, so it's 1 o'clock. We want to be respectful of everyone's time. Caitlin, I have no idea if there's a efficient way to answer all of these.
So I do want to give everybody the heads up about a application walkthrough. So want to reiterate the fact that we are going to have direct assistance. That was one of those things that Olivia said that they learned from the phase one, is so that to make it easier for everybody to apply, there will be direct assistance in the application process. And those details will be shared in March when that program opens, by the end of, ideally by the end of March. And we will also have a walkthrough of the program. So a lot of those specific questions I think will be answered through that process. And there'll be additional, like the easiest thing to do is to say, keep an eye on the website and reach out with those specific questions. Give us a little bit of time so that we can get that application up, so that we can give you the right answers and understand that that will be happening in the next couple months. And you will have a direct person to talk to about your application process, which will make this process a lot easier and get a lot of these questions answered as well.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you for everyone for attending. Thank you so much, Jesse and Moises and Dr. Crossman, who had to jump. This went awesome. Thank you so much. I think it's, really important for our potential phase two purchasers to hear directly from the source, people who received vehicles in phase one. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Sign up for the listserv. We'll keep your email on deck from this registration, and more information to come. Thanks.